Sea of Japan. 3:07 p.m. What began as routine carrier patrols changed in seconds. A North Korean ballistic missile, not a drill, was on a real trajectory toward Japan. United States Navy sensors lit up. Command networks surged to action. This wasn't a warning shot. For Pyongyang, the American response would come before a single missile could hit. What happens when the decisive moment isn't measured in missiles fired, but in who controls the silence? At 3:07 p.m., the first alert flashes, not in the carrier's radar room, but in orbit. Over the Sea of Japan, U.S. space-based infrared system satellites catch the heat bloom of a missile rising from North Korean territory. The detection is nearly instant. Infrared sensors register the launch in less than 3 seconds. Automated algorithms at the Mission Control Station in Colorado process the signature, confirming it matches North Korean launch profiles. In under 15 seconds, the alert is relayed to the Missile Warning Center and then pushed to Pacific Theater nodes. Within 1 minute, the cue travels across secure networks, reaching the carrier strike group's airborne early warning assets. An E-2D Hawkeye, already on patrol, receives the theater-wide alert. Its radar operators adjust their scan, focusing on the projected corridor. The APY-9 radar begins a wide-area search, sweeping the horizon for a fast-moving object. Parallel signals reach a P-8A, Poseidon flying a maritime patrol pattern, and Japanese ground-based radars on Hokkaido. Each sensor begins its own search, cross-checking the satellite cue against local data. The airborne platforms extend the strike group's eyes far beyond the surface radar horizon. The E-2D's radar, designed for both air and missile defense, is able to pick up a ballistic missile much earlier than ship-based systems alone. Within seconds of receiving the SBIRS cue, the E-2D detects an object accelerating at extreme speed, climbing rapidly. The track is declared a possible ballistic missile, matching the predicted trajectory from space-based data. Allied networks fuse the information, confirming the launch is real, not a test, not a misfire. The alert is validated by at least 2 independent sensors, meeting the threshold for a threat of interest. The airborne relay compresses the timeline. What once took minutes now unfolds in less than 60 seconds. Surface units in the carrier strike group receive the validated cue with precise coordinates and a projected impact window. The handoff from space to air to sea is complete. The missile is now a live track in the strike group's tactical picture, and the clock is running. Shipboard sensors take over as the missile track enters the strike group's defensive envelope. The lead Aegis destroyer, equipped with the SPY-1D radar, sweeps the upper atmosphere, searching for the faint echo of an object moving at hypersonic speed. In the Carrier Combat Direction Center, watchstanders monitor the tactical display. Each incoming cue, satellite E-2D, Japanese ground radar, feeds into a common data network. The Cooperative Engagement Capability, CEC, knits these sources together in real time. Track fragments from separate radars fuse into a single, coherent solution. Within 3 minutes of the first alert, the missile path is plotted across the consoles of every ship in the formation. The system assigns a unique track number, color-coded for threat priority. Operators confirm that the radar return matches the predicted ballistic profile. Rapid vertical ascent, no transponder, no Mode 4 or Mode 5. IFF response. The SPY radar high-powered beam locks on, shifting from wide-area search to fire control quality tracking. Each sweep refines the missile position, velocity, and projected impact point. The digital picture grows sharper with every update. The E-2D wide area scan fills in the mid-course phase, while the destroyer radar provides precise range and speed. The CEC network distributes this fused track to every ship, aircraft, and allied unit on Link 16. Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force destroyers operating nearby receive the same tactical picture. The missile is now a validated, high-confidence threat, its trajectory and type confirmed by at least 3 independent sensors. Inside the Combat Information Center, the Tactical Action Officer reviews the display. The missile projected path falls within the coverage of the strike group interceptors. Weapons control status shifts from hold to tight. The fire control radar maintains a skin track, ready for engagement if ordered. All data points, radar, satellite, and airborne sensor agree on a single, fused solution. The threat is no longer theoretical. It is a live, confirmed track, moving steadily toward Allied airspace. Every ship in the group stands ready, the defensive posture locked in by a web of sensors and real-time data fusion. Combat Information Center comes alive in moments like this. The Combat Information Center Watch Officer stands at the center of the action, eyes fixed on tactical displays, voice steady over the internal net. A new track flashes across the screen. Unknown, high speed, ballistic profile. The cadence of reports tightens. Every 15 seconds, the status is updated. Bearing, range, speed, altitude. Surface warfare supervisors plot the trajectory on the vertical display, dead reckoning the missile's path as it arcs over the Sea of Japan. The Tactical Action Officer takes charge of the threat evaluation. Years of training have narrowed these moments to muscle memory. The Tactical Action Officer's job is to classify the track as friend, foe, or unknown. The incoming object shows no identify friend or foe, signal no transponder, and its velocity exceeds anything but a missile. The radar return matches the ascent phase signature of a ballistic missile. The Tactical Action Officer cross-checks the data, satellite Q, E2D confirmation, Aegis radar lock. Everything aligns. The track is declared hostile. Weapons control order remains at hold. No weapons may be fired, but the situation demands more. The Tactical Action Officer turns to the Commanding Officer. The Commanding Officer, responsible for every life aboard, listens as the Tactical Action Officer states the case. Confirmed hostile, inbound, projected impact in Allied waters. The Commanding Officer's authority is absolute in these moments. With a nod, the order is given. Shift to weapons tight. Now the ship's interceptors are authorized to engage if the threat approaches within their assigned sector. The change is transmitted instantly across the formation. Each ship receives the update through the tactical data network. Air defense crews stand by at their consoles, ready to act. The pace inside the Combat Information Center is measured but urgent. The Watch Officer relays the new status to the rest of the watch team. The Tactical Action Officer continues to monitor the missile's trajectory, coordinating with the carrier strike group's flagship and surface combatants. The Commanding Officer maintains direct communication with the strike group commander, prepared to escalate if the situation deteriorates. All actions are logged in real time. Every voice transmission, radar plot, and status change is documented for later review. Weapons crews check their systems. Fire control radars remain locked on the track, updating the solution with each sweep. Defensive measures are readied, but no one moves without command authority. The process is disciplined and precise, designed to prevent mistakes under pressure. The focus is on readiness, not reaction. The strike group's posture is now one step from engagement. But the emphasis remains on control and coordination. The decision to shift from hold to tight is not taken lightly. It is a measured response, balancing deterrence with restraint. Across the bridge, The commanding officer's word is final, but every recommendation flows from the expertise of the Combat Information Center Watch Officer and the Tactical Action Officer. Their judgment, shaped by doctrine and drilled in countless exercises, guides the ship through the most dangerous minutes. The threat is classified, the posture elevated, and the entire carrier strike group stands ready. The next step will depend on what the missile does and on the coordination with Allied and theater-level commands now coming into play. Flag-level coordination begins the moment the threat is classified. The strike group's commanding officer relays the situation to the carrier strike group commander, a flag officer with direct authority over all ships in the formation. The commander stands at the nexus of tactical action and strategic restraint, responsible for balancing readiness with the broader implications of any response. The next call moves up the chain. 7th Fleet Headquarters in Yokosuka receives a flash precedence message flagged for immediate action. This alert is routed through secure networks, bypassing routine channels. The message is brief. Ballistic missile launch detected, validated by multiple sensors. A trajectory inbound toward Allied airspace. The urgency is unmistakable, but the language is precise and free of speculation. Simultaneously, liaison officers from the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force embedded within the strike group and at 7th Fleet Headquarters receive the same data feed. These officers serve as a direct bridge to Japan's Air and Missile Defense Command. Their presence ensures that every update, including track refinement, threat classification, and posture change, is mirrored in Japanese operations centers. Through Link 16, a secure and jam-resistant tactical data link, the validated missile track is shared in real time. Japanese Aegis destroyers and ground-based interceptors update their own tactical displays with the same information seen aboard U.S. ships. The integration is seamless, and the response is unified. At the theater level, U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, Indo-PACOM, is notified through established escalation protocols. The command center in Hawaii receives the 7th Fleet flash, cross-checks it against space-based and Allied sensor data, and confirms the incident's status as a threat to regional security. Indo-PACOM's role is to provide oversight, ensuring that any local action aligns with national objectives and alliance commitments. The command reviews the rules of engagement, rules designed to prevent accidental escalation. Under these rules, interceptors may only be launched against confirmed hostile threats on a trajectory toward defended areas. Every decision is logged, and every action is traceable. Throughout this process, restraint is not just a matter of policy. It is built into the architecture of the response. Each layer of command serves as a check, requiring positive confirmation before any kinetic action is taken. The strike group's posture remains at weapons tight, one step from engagement, and the emphasis is on control. The presence of Japanese liaison officers and the real-time data sharing through Link 16 reinforce the alliance's commitment to collective defense. No single commander acts alone. Every escalation is coordinated, every message transmitted with the knowledge that it will be read by Allied eyes. This networked approach extends beyond the ships and aircraft in the immediate area. Japanese and U.S. defense officials in Tokyo and Washington are kept informed through secure communications. National command authorities monitor the situation, prepared to issue further guidance if the missile's trajectory changes or if North Korea launches additional threats. The integration of theater, fleet, and Allied command ensures that the response remains measured, even as the minutes tick by and the threat draws closer. In these moments, discipline and coordination prevail over impulse. The system is designed to absorb the shock of sudden escalation without tipping into conflict. By sharing data, confirming every step, and maintaining strict oversight, the alliance demonstrates that deterrence is not a matter of firepower alone, but of resolve and restraint, exercised through every link in the chain of command. June 2019, the Gulf of Oman. 2 oil tankers, Front Altair and Kukukuka Courageous, sustained damage from limpet mines. Within hours, U.S. Central Command releases infrared video and photographs, publicly attributing the attack to Iranian forces. The USS Bainbridge, already on patrol, moves to escort the damaged vessels. Navy destroyers form a visible shield, tracking every contact in the strait. Across the region, radar operators and watchstanders tighten their focus, classifying threats, confirming identities, and reporting every maneuver. The message is clear. The U.S. Navy is present, its sensors active, its posture unmistakable. A month later, July 19th, the British-flagged Stena Impero is seized by Iranian Revolutionary Guard boats in the Strait of Hormuz. The Royal Navy dispatches HMS Montrose and HMS Duncan to escort commercial shipping. U.S. Fifth Fleet assets, including the USS Boxer, increase patrols and electronic surveillance. Public statements from the Department of Defense outline the new escort procedures. Tankers pass through the strait under armed guard, tracked by radar and monitored by drones. The presence of coalition warships, combined with real-time attribution and public disclosure, alters the calculus in Tehran. Iranian vessels shadow convoys, but avoid direct confrontation. The Stena Impero is eventually released after 2 months, following sustained pressure and continuous naval monitoring. These events in the Persian Gulf show how visible force, persistent tracking, and the rapid release of evidence can deter escalation without a single shot fired. Naval doctrine in the region relies on presence, attribution, and disciplined restraint, tools that have proven effective in containing risk and shaping adversary behavior. The lessons drawn from these standoffs inform how carrier strike groups and their allies respond to missile threats in other contested waters. Sea of Japan, 3:07 p.m. Late afternoon light, clear skies, cold waters. A United States Navy carrier strike group operating in international waters near the Korean Peninsula. Air patrols active, radar systems scanning continuously. Routine posture, nothing unusual. Then, early warning alerts triggered. A ballistic missile launch detected from North Korean territory. Rapid ascent, heat signature confirmed. Trajectory forming in real time. This was not a test. This was not routine signaling. It was a deliberate launch toward Japan. Radar confirmation, threat classification, defensive posture shifts. Electronic warfare readiness, command-level decision-making. August 2017, a North Korean Hwasong, 12 missile lifts off from a site near Sunan, climbing over Hokkaido, Japan, before splashing down in the Pacific. For the first time, a North Korean ballistic missile overflies Japanese territory, triggering nationwide alerts. Sirens sound in Sapporo. Bulletins flash across television screens from Tokyo to Aomori. The Japan Ministry of Defense issues immediate advisories, confirming the trajectory and urging civilians to take shelter. United States and Japanese radars track the missile's arc in real time, but no interceptors launch. The event exposes the limits of existing warning systems and the need for faster, more integrated response networks. In the years that follow, both Japan and the United States overhaul their missile defense architecture. Japan upgrades its JADGH radar network and deploys additional Aegis ashore sites. United States Navy carrier strike groups operating in the region receive enhanced cooperative engagement capability, linking destroyers, cruisers, and airborne sensors into a single, fused track picture. The Missile Defense Agency's SBIRS satellites provide near instantaneous launch detection, shrinking the timeline from initial cue to validated threat. Joint exercises like Keen Sword and Freedom Edge test these systems under simulated crisis conditions. Link 16 and J REAP networks push track data across the Pacific in seconds. Liaison officers from the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force embed with the United States 7th Fleet, ensuring that every alert, posture change, and engagement option is mirrored in Tokyo's command centers. By the mid-2020s, this web of sensors and command links forms the backbone of Allied deterrence. The response to each new North Korean launch is faster, more disciplined, and more transparent than ever before. Japan's Ministry of Defense now issues public missile advisories within minutes. United States and Japanese radars, satellites, and airborne platforms cross-check every track, reducing the risk of miscalculation. The lessons of 2017, speed, coordination, and shared awareness, shape every aspect of the modern Allied missile defense posture. Electronic disruption, posture dominance, and command silence are often the intended outcomes of naval standoffs. No missile needs to be fired for a confrontation to be decisively resolved. In today's tense Indo-Pacific, missile launches are measured in seconds, but deterrence is measured in silence. No missiles need to be fired for a standoff to reshape regional power. As North Korea tests boundaries and U.S. forces hold steady, the balance remains fragile, maintained not by action, but by discipline. In this era, restraint is the real show of force. Share your thoughts on today's standoff below.